Wow, it is Tuesday, May 7th, 2023, and counting. Look at me, I'm all alone here. Well, I'm not all alone because I've got Kenny Stomsky down there. Wow, we are taping just for transparency's sake on Monday. So this may not be your weather tomorrow, although it's going to be another nice day. I think the weather is coming in later in the week, right, Ken Stomsky?
I haven't been paying attention.
Oh my gosh, he's been so busy working to get me on the air that he doesn't even know what you don't even know what day it is, do you, my friend?
Oh
Probably.
no, I know it's Monday.
Oh, you do? No, it's actually Tuesday because we're taping on Monday.
Oh, you
for
got
Tuesday.
Me. You got me good.
Yes.
All right. Yeah. You know, if I had done that, then I.
You get it?
Yeah,
You see
what I'm doing there?
Yeah. We pretend that it is Tuesday from here on in, but everyone who gets up with us at the early rise time of 6 o'clock in the morning.
And the 10 after mark on that clock that you have in there.
Yes.
That's really the top of the hour. So.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're kind of all confused here today. Now you may be wondering, where are the guys? Well, would you tell everyone what happened to Peter Cole? Well, what happened to them? They went on a wonderful cruise. Okay, Rick Barry and Peter Coles went on a wonderful cruise, and well, unfortunately, at the end of the cruise, Peter started to feel ill. And so he's got the flu or maybe the big COVID. I don't know. But he is being very wise and healing and staying home. And,
we don't say the C word on here.
Oh, we don't? Oh, okay. All right.
Jeez, come on, man.
Oh, all right. That sounds... So, get this. Rick Barry is healthy. But unfortunately, he's out there working for a living. Right.
Are you saying it's unfortunate that he has a job?
Come
on, man.
The whole world revolves around me. So yeah. Why not? Why? Yeah. No. But I am wishing them both the best. But later on in the program, not to be more. I'm very happy. Because Mark Auerbach is returning, and, he's always a great conversationalist and wise man and critic extraordinaire. He'll be on, in a bit, so stay tuned for that. But meanwhile, I had the greatest weekend, Peter. It was...
What you call me?
I'm Peter. I had the greatest weekend, Kenny. Oh my gosh!
The abuse I put up with here.
Oh my God! Well, it's senior abuse, which is senior abuse because I have senioritis, of course. So I can hardly remember where I was this morning.
So you have CRS.
So what is that? CRS.
Yeah, can't remember.
Oh, okay, all right. Can't remember something.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Something.
Can't remember something.
Yeah.
So, at any rate, we had a fully active Westfield community weekend this weekend. Okay. On Thursday night, we opened the exhibit at WOW's Creative Arts Center, Journey Stories, Faces of Westfield, and it was so incredible. We had about 100 people who came to our opening, all from all over the world as well as from all over Westfield, to see this incredible exhibit of photographs by Bill Hughes. They are of people who have settled in our town. For many years they've been here perhaps, or for a few years they've been here, but they're from other parts of the world, and they are active residents. And so we are really thrilled to shine a light on the Chinese folks, the Puerto Rican folks, the Tanzanian folks, the Sudanese folks, the Nepalese folks, the English folks, the, on and on. Okay, and all of the wonderful photographs have bios that tell the story, how they got here, when they became citizens, et cetera, where they were before. And some of the stories are very moving. They tell a story of why America is not so much a melting pot, but a pluralistic society. And I love it. You got to come down and see it. It's open. The gallery hours are Thursday and Friday nights, 6 to 8:30, and on Saturday from 12 until 4 in the afternoon. It's at 105 Elm Street. And we also have other hours during the day, during the week when we are open for business. So if you see the sign outside, come on in and look at this great exhibit. If you want a private showing with a group, Billy Hughes, the photographer, and myself will be glad to take groups of adults or children to teach them how to look at photographs, to tell the stories of these wonderful immigrants, and more to the point, to show you our great gallery. So you can sign up for a group tour by going to 579-5967. That's 413. Leave a message or go to westfieldonweekends.com, where all the information is about everything that's happening in Westfield. A week from this coming Monday night, incidentally, there is a bingo game. Yeah, bingo is back in Westfield. It's at Westfield Creative Arts. It's at 6 o'clock. Great games. I think there are 17 great games, lots of prizes. They're all cash, incidentally. And so think about coming next Monday night, okay?
Is there going to be a farmer with a dog there?
A farmer with a dog in bingo. Once I had a dog named Bingo, and Bingo, is that the name?
There was a farmer who had a dog, and Bingo was his
name.
Yeah.
Bingo.
That was bad. I'm sorry.
Listen, you just brought me back to my youth. I used to sing that all the time when I was a little boy.
Mm-hmm. And you used to clap as you took the letters out?
Yeah. Oh.
NGO.
Oh, yeah. B-I-N-G-O. That was, more than 70 years ago. How do you like that? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hey, so that was Thursday night. Friday night was the opening of Articulture down at the Amelia Park Ice Rink. We were there. Wonderful show. Wonderful artists. Artworks put it on. It was great. And on top of that, downtown was the Elm Street Plaza dedication.
I was on a Boeing 737 when that happened.
You're kidding. I was wondering where you were because you're always at all those wonderful events. And this was the ribbon cutting of this great space in our downtown, this great green space in our downtown, which will be the site for concerts, community events. We've got movies this summer there, etc., etc.
I did send one of our people down to record the ribbon cutting and some of the festivities that night. So we do have a record of it. I just need to get my hands on that footage and edit it at some point in time.
I gotcha.
So we did get something, even though I wasn't in town.
Yeah. Well, then, on Saturday, there was the 5K. Yeah. Did you happen to see any of that at all?
I knew it was going on. I knew there was a car show that I desperately wanted to get. But
a great car show right in front of Westfield on weekends, and we had many visitors who came in to see the art exhibit as well.
Unfortunately, I was still coming off of West Coast time, and I needed to get unpacked because I knew that this week was going to be a wallop.
Oh, yeah. Well, you didn't think it was going to start on Monday morning,
Not this
did
way.
you?
No. I thought I'd be in my garage working on my car right now,
Oh,
Bob.
my gosh. Are you one of those guys that sort of has one of those things that gets you under the car? You lay on your side like I see in the movies.
It's a creeper.
What is that called?
A creeper.
A creeper.
Yeah. Some people call it a crawler.
And
I've always known it as being called a creeper.
Do you have to rent one? Where does one get one? Where does one get a creeper?
Any shop that sells automotive parts. I mean, I think even a hardware store would have it.
Do you rent it or do you buy it?
No, they're cheap enough to buy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It would be
all it is a plank with four wheels on it.
Yeah. Well, I think it could be used for games afterward with the kids. So it's a good purchase, I suppose. What are you getting under that?
So you take one of those creepers and you put it up at the top of the hill and you put a kid on it and push them down the hill? I mean, is that how you would
Yeah, I was thinking of or you put boards on it, and then you are able to transport things, or you could be in a parade and have a float if you were hire a couple of guys to pull you, and you wouldn't have to march in parades.
Right.
That would be a great one for me, wouldn't it? Yeah. At any rate, what are you getting under your car for?
Oh, those days are behind me.
Yes.
I'm going to start the detail process with my 2 vehicles, and I was going to start on the inside of one of them, but I'll do that some other day.
So tell everybody you have some vintage cars. Speaking of vintage.
An 05 Impala is not vintage.
An 05 Impala, 2005. What's the car that you have outside? I think that's
30 years old. Yeah, technically it could be an antique. I think 25 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's a 30-year-old Cadillac.
30-year-old Cadillac. To me, it looks like something I drove back, well, let's see, 30 years ago. Would
it was
be
a 94.
Oh, 94. Oh,
Yeah.
well, geez, it kind of looks a little like my Ford Fairlane that I used to drive back in the late 60s, early 70s. Am I right? I don't know.
Have you been getting near the devil's weed?
No.
My God.
Oh my gosh! You know I don't drink, I don't smoke, there's nothing.
This
There's
is
nothing that I
natural.
do except this television show, right? And TV, a radio show. Yeah. Hey, we should do a shout out to our folks in Agawam and Southwick, where you work on Southwick Community Television, don't you?
I do. I'm the director down there.
Yeah. What's happening for Southwick Community Television? Anything special? Do you have our programming as well as the programming for Southwick?
I carry our live programming in the morning. And
how do folks see it in Southwick?
the same thing as up here.
Channel 50.
Channel 15 on their cable system, and they can go to the Town of Southwick website and click on departments, because I'm actually a department, and you can click on watch Channel 15, and it'll stream. I stream 24 hours. What happened? What happened? Your microphone cut out.
My microphone. Am I on now?
No, I'm hearing you on the other microphone.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Should
Okay, you're coming in now.
That's so
All right,
strange.
We'll look at it later.
Why don't we take a break and you can make sure that I see it's coming in and out.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
We got to take a break. Peter or Kenny, tell everybody what we're going to hear.
Are we going to hear
Roger Saloom?
Okay, yes. We got to get out of Worcester.
Yeah. We'll talk about this afterward.
Have you ever seen streets so bumpy? Just a young man and I feel so funny. Lord, gotta get out of here. It's the same old corners and the same old stores, same old buildings and a building more. Help me get myself out of here. Oh, I gotta get out of Worcester. Gotta get out of Worcester. Gotta get out of Worcester. Move on down the road. Oh, yeah. Frisco's got hills and we all get thanks. Boston's got schools and Worcester's got banks. Oh, city's just bound to grow. But it's not too big and it's not too small. It's not too much of anything at all. Help me, what a vicious mood I'm in tonight. Oh, I gotta get out of Worcester. Gotta get out of Worcester. Gotta get out of Worcester. Move on down the road. Oh, here I go. Well, I'm not sure just what it could be. Might be Worcester and it just might be me.
Support for community radio on WSKB is provided by Rocky's Ace Hardware. For all your fall cleanup needs, plus you'll experience our legendary helpful service in every department. Rocky's, rock solid service since 1926.
Saturdays were made for polka. Tune in to the Polka Jammer Network starting at 6 a.m. and Polka Hall of Famer Billy Bellina, Breakfast at BB at 8:30.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 at 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Hey, Roger Saloom, how do you like that? I love Roger Saloom. You know, we work with him years back to produce some of our summer concert series. He is the person who should have been famous that never was famous, okay? And he worked with the Neville Brothers, wrote lots of tunes, and I think there's a documentary that you could even see him on public television. His last name is spelled Saloom, 2 L's and 1 M and 2 O's, Saloom. And he is, he's... You got to read about him. Go online and read about this superb musician. Now,
I heard some swing, some jitterbug, and some Chicago blues in there.
Oh man, and he runs the gamut, and he's now, I think, in his early 70s, if I'm not mistaken, and just a great musician. I love that song because when we were at Holy Cross, when we were at Holy Cross, my friends and I. You know the world.
It's all about Bob.
It's all about Bob, whatever. When I was at Holy Cross in Worcester, I remember friends saying to me, we got to get out of this town. We got to, Worcester back then was, it was hilly. And it didn't seem to have
it's still hilly, Bob.
It's still hilly.
Yeah.
But when you go to downtown now, man, they've done a wonderful job. And it is really a great place to live, and it's right in the middle of the state. Do you go to Worcester at all?
I actually have friends who live there. So I can't say a lot of the area has cleaned up. There are still sketchy areas.
Right.
I'm going to say it as it is.
Right.
But Worcester, on the whole, is in a better position they were 20 years ago.
Oh, man. Worcester Polytech is there.
Yep.
Clark.
Table Talk pies are made there.
Yes. Clark University.
Yep. Polar Soda.
Yes. Oh, they have a great armor museum as well. That is really incredible. The way to spell that name, Worcester, is Worcester.
And no one from Massachusetts can say it.
They don't say it correctly?
No, they look at it and they can't pronounce it right.
Worcester.
Yeah.
Worcester.
Right.
Worcester.
It's like Peabody.
Peabody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're from Peabody?
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
come on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. What about a town around here that's mispronounced? Ludlow, you can't get. Chicopee is easy. Springfield.
Yeah. Holyoke.
Holyoke.
Is it Holyoke or is it Holyoke?
Holyoke.
It's Holyoke.
Holyoke.
It's Holyoke, but a lot of people say Holyoke. They ignore
Holyoke.
the L.
They get rid of the L.
Yeah, Holyoke instead of Holyoke.
Holyoke. Yeah. I say Holyoke. Like half a yoke,
right.
Whole yoke.
And then depending on where you come from, it's either Amherst or Amherst.
Amherst. How about Northampton? Because it looks like, wait a minute, Northampton
when I worked up there,
has one H.
When I worked up there, I used to have to say Northampton, one word, one H.
Yes.
Otherwise, it would come in North and Hampton.
Right. And the strange part is there's a Southampton and East Hampton, but there doesn't seem to be a Hampton. Am I right?
There's an east, south, north, and west, yes.
Right. And where's the Hampton?
And you know, they're different counties, too, Bob.
Well, they're in different counties, but I want to know where the Hampton is. Mm-hmm. Who stole the Kishka? Who
stole the... Yazoo stole the Kishka, wasn't it Yazoo?
Yazoo.
Were there different people who stole it?
Who stole the Kishka? There's that song.
Somebody call a cop.
Yeah.
Who stole the
Kishka.
Yeah.
That was a big tune.
Yeah. Janusz stole the Kishka. I think was the guilty one.
Oh, I think it was Bobby Vinton.
Oh, that was Melody of Love.
Oh, Melody of Love. Is it Bobby Vinton? No, it's not Bobby Vinton. Bobby Rydell. Who was the Polish guy?
Vinton.
Oh, Vinton. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moja droga
Tacoma.
Yeah.
Do you ever see him out in Las Vegas?
No,
at all? Is
God,
he
no,
passed away or
I
don't?
I have no idea about
Yeah.
him.
Who's the guy that is always out there in Las Vegas? Because you just came back from Las
Yeah,
Vegas.
Wayne Newton is still around.
Yeah. Have you gone to see his show at all?
No, I just hung out with him at a pool bar at the Tropicana a few years ago.
No.
Oh yeah, I
Now-
have a picture to prove it too.
Oh, wow. Is his face as strange as it looks?
Yeah, it looks like he's definitely had work.
Yeah.
Hey,
I could never understand that.
So Bob,
Yeah.
we've been joined by somebody. Do you want me to cut over?
I would love for you to cut over, as we say in show business.
Let's try that.
Look at
Is
that.
it working?
Yeah. I go over to this camera now to look. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah. As you see, Mark, I've got my glasses on. Put yours down and we'll look like twins.
I have my glasses on, but I can't see you. I only see the logo for Westfield Community Program.
Oh my gosh! So you're very handsome here, and your house looks very nice and
Well,
immaculate. And
What do you think about that now?
now, can you see us?
That's fantastic. You guys look fabulous.
See, put your glasses down, and we'll be twins here, Mark. Yeah. No, you got to know. You got to put them down at the edge of your nose.
Oh, I usually wear mine up here.
Oh, you do? Oh, there.
But I'm going to wear them here so I can see you.
All right, sounds good. Yeah. See, if I wear them there, I can't see you because these are reading glasses. But they're those kind. I gotta show everyone. See, you know this. I talk about this all the time. See, my glasses come apart. They go down like that. They're called clicks, and that you can entertain your children with the magnets. Okay, like that. See, there we
I
go.
have one pair
But
of
the
glasses.
problem is, yeah.
I have one pair that have magnets on them, and they click to the car. They click to the laptop. They never stay on my face.
Oh gosh,
You
know,
need to put some metal on your face.
Yeah, Mark.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, when I'm getting dinner and I say, "Oh, I'm going to watch a TV show while I'm eating or whatever," oftentimes I would go into the other room, and there will be a fork hanging from my face, or fork hanging from my glasses. It's pathetic. Maybe if I do this now. Wait a minute. There, is that good? So now I'll just click when I want to read something about all the news that is fit to print that Mark Auerbach, critic extraordinaire, promotes. You are you are everywhere, and now not only that, you're kind of creeping into my realm. You're getting back on stage, I hear.
I am going back on stage this weekend on Sunday with the Springfield Chamber Players. I will be narrating the entire program, but kind of like the MC. But I'm actually narrating a piece by PDQ Bach, which were classical music satirists. And it's a short piece called The Boston Wonder. And it's about a flute that is actually known as the Boston Wonder. Huh. And the flute is created from the best tin in the jungle. And it is handcrafted in Boston and given to a flute player and sounds so great that it flies off into the world. And Peter Schickley, who was the composer for PDQ Bach, wrote it for a friend who was a flutist who needed something funny for a recital.
Oh gosh, PDQ Bach was so popular. Peter Schickley, is that how you say his name or something?
That was his name, and he died not too long ago.
Oh, did he? Oh.
The group disbanded many years ago, but you don't have to know classical music to find them hysterically funny.
Oh, hysterically funny, yeah. Afterward, I'm going to play Nellie. Nellie has a friend or something. Nellie is a nice girl. You know Nellie is a nice girl?
I never heard it before you sent the rundown for today's program.
Yeah.
And I just sat there and laughed.
Oh, it is so great. So is this sort of like Peter and the Wolf, where Prokofiev?
The program is a family-friendly program, and it features Johnny Appleseed, which was written by Clifton J. Noble Jr., who grew up in Westfield and is still a music leader at one of the churches in Westfield. And it's based on Jane Yolen's book. And the cool thing about Johnny Appleseed was he grew up in Long Meadow, about 3 blocks from where I grew up as a kid. And the house still stands. And
Did you know him when he was spreading?
No, but he left in his memoirs a chapter of knowing you. I was much young.
Oh God, yeah. I would, yeah. I was not into those apple pies like he was, at all.
But I mean, he was a real historic figure. His name was John Chapman. So that's the first piece, or one of the 4 pieces.
Right.
Boston Wonder is one, and then the Swan sequence from Saint Saëns' Carnival of the Animals.
Oh, I love it.
Which is a great little piece of music. And the other one is called Ferdinand the Bull. It's based on a children's story about a pacifist bull. And so it's 4 pieces of really fun, family-friendly music performed by the Springfield Chamber Players.
Oh, man. And, Ferdinand the Bull, really, that was a cartoon that Disney did, I think, years ago. I saw Ferdinand. Actually, Johnny Appleseed was a cartoon as well, but not with this wonderful music that Jerry Noble wrote, right?
I mean, and Ferdinand the Bull has a musical score that was written for it. And we have 3 narrators. One is Karen Noble, who is the wife of Jerry Noble. And the piece was commissioned by the Longmeadow Chamber Music Society and first performed at First Church in 2008. And she was the original narrator.
Gotcha.
And then Marty Kluger, who plays the timpani with the Springfield Symphony Orchestra, is narrating Ferdinand the Bull. Yeah. And I get to narrate the Boston Wonder.
You listen. You know how I always say that if you're going to introduce people to cultural things like art and music, you got to go where they are. And I love the idea that the chamber players are going where children are, because children can now have a memory of a classical concert, a classical piece of music that they can really enjoy, and their parents can enjoy the music and enjoy their kids watching and listening to this music. Am I right?
You're totally right. And our hope is, with the Springfield Chamber Players, to tour Johnny Appleseed to other communities.
Oh, man. Oh, gosh.
We most likely will put it on our Springfield concert season next year.
Right.
Possibly in the holiday period. And we'd love to bring it to Westfield.
We should talk. We can talk, because it would fit right into our programming. And we now are doing a cultural district in Westfield, which on May 23rd of this month, the Massachusetts cultural folks are coming to Westfield. And Artworks Westfield on weekends, the Westfield Athenaeum, the community development folks from Westfield, and one other person from the community yet to be decided, are going to be coordinating cultural activities in our downtown, because the cultural people from Boston it's looking more and more like we're going to become a cultural district because of having all of these events and all of these cultural places within our downtown. So
I think it makes a lot of sense. I think Westfield has a lot of culture compared to other communities its size, and really good stuff going on. Yeah. The only thing it lacks is a really good indoor performance space that's large enough to bring in bigger things.
Yeah, very, very true. You have to go, downtown we have the Westfield Women's Club that seats about 280. WOW seats about 80 to 100. The Lang Auditorium is, I think, about 100, 110, 20, something like that.
That's where we perform with the Springfield Chamber Players, and it's a nice little space. But
Right.
reality, to bring something like Johnny Appleseed
Right.
in, it's too small.
Yeah. Well, then we go then to the Devers Stage at Westfield State, 538 seats. Okay, something like that. 538. I don't know where I came up with the 38.
This isn't probably the venue to discuss what we'd like to do.
Oh, no. But in terms of a community and the idea that there is, that's why Springfield is wonderful, because the Springfield Symphony has space for, 1,500 or so? I don't know, more than.
Symphony Hall holds close to 2,000.
2,000.
And next year, we'll be performing in a new event space called 52 Sumner.
I know. I saw it. It's great. JP.
Which could be 300 to 380 people.
Yeah.
And there aren't enough spaces in the area that can accommodate between 300 and 500 easily. I think that Westfield is blessed with some of the resources it has.
Yeah.
And certainly like this Articulture weekend that's taking, place.
We just did it. Yeah.
I mean, that is a really good thing for a community. And the fact that there's collaborative efforts between, the art people,
the major players
on weekends, and these other folks that really want to band together and make performance and activities and exhibitions happen is really fantastic.
I got a question for you. I often wonder if the word culture scares them, not turns them off, but scares them. Culture. What do you think?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think you can use it interchangeably with entertainment, because most culture is entertainment.
Sure.
If you learn something while you attend an event or go to an exhibit, that's really terrific. But the majority of people go to exhibits and performances because they're entertained or they're getting something from it. A lot of people say they go to classical music because it clears their mind of all the things that are bothering them in the world, or they go to Broadway because they just want to be entertained. But theater is culture and it's entertainment.
Oh, yeah. I just think that for a long while, the word culture was associated with the quote unquote elite or educated, educated folks. All of us are educated, but I mean, there's in order to partake of culture, you need to have money. That's not necessarily the case.
Yeah, but when American culture or the arts community developed at the turn of the last century, it was the wealthy, the philanthropists, the people who had social means that went to the theater, supported concerts, supported the opera and the ballet. And none of these organizations really did a great job back in the 30s, 40s, 50s of getting another generation to really follow suit. And now, since arts in the school are somewhat limited, you have people that don't know anything about opera or dance or theater that are sort of afraid to try it. But my feeling is, particularly with what the Springfield Chamber Players are doing, get them in the door, and we make our concerts fun and entertaining. And if they come once, they're very likely to come a second time.
Yeah, very, very true. I've been working, as you know, with Up Close and Musical, the Westfield State Musical Department, to produce a series down at Westfield's Creative Arts Center. And we, this summer, are talking about expanding. Usually we do it during the year, and the faculty, students, and the alumni all play, and they're all so talented. And we have a great, the concerts get sold out, or as you know, with the chamber at the Athenaeum, and they're free for us. They're free because we got some grants and stuff. But the idea here is, in the summertime, we have wonderful concerts that Artworks is going to present at the Elm Street Plaza, but we want to augment them with some other indoor concerts. And so I'm looking for some stuff for the summer, and I'm working with some of the students from Westfield State, just because I really believe, as you do, that getting kids into the space. When was your first time, or how did you learn about Broadway, classical music, all
I
of
had
that?
an unusual childhood because my mother, before she married my dad and moved to Springfield, had been a professional dancer. And
Oh,
so
that's
when
right.
I was 4 or 5, she was taking me to performances as long as I could sit still.
Mm,
But I do remember going to some plays and musicals as a, like kindergarten, first grade.
yeah.
I remember being in Miami with my grandparents, and they took me to see Showboat
Oh, for
with
God's sakes.
Julie Wilson at the
Old
Coconut
Man
Grove
River.
Playhouse.
Yeah.
And I was
Julie Wilson. Wow.
I was fascinated how the sets moved and everything else.
Yeah.
But the first time I went to a classical music performance was in 4th grade when we were bused down to Symphony Hall for a Springfield Symphony education program.
Oh gosh, I cannot. I remember that my parents on their little phonograph. Is that what they called it? I was going to say phonograph recorder, but it's a phonograph, right? What do you call that?
Yeah.
Record player. They had the soundtrack on their breakable 33 and a third of South Pacific. And so I remember hearing Honey Bun and Younger Than Springtime and all those things. And I can remember as a kid hearing those. There's Nothing Like a Dame, all these adult kind of like things that a little kid would. But I love the tunes, But classical, I cannot remember how I began to love classical music. Maybe it was in Worcester. I don't know.
Yeah, I
At
do
school.
remember. I remember before I saw my first Broadway show in New York.
Yeah.
My mother had taken me to a tent theater in Framingham called the Carousel,
Mm.
and I remember the first show I saw there was Annie Get Your Gun, and then my mother choreographed for a community theater production, A King and I, and put me in it because they needed Siamese kids, young children.
Sure,
And
the March of the Siamese Children, yeah. You were one of those little kids?
I was one of those little kids, and as I grew up, I mean, she pushed me to take piano lessons and singing lessons, but my first Broadway show was My Fair Lady,
oh my
and
God.
I was 9 or 10.
Right at the top.
And then Sound of Music was the next one.
Oh,
but
gosh.
after that, I got very much into it, went to theater a lot, and started performing. So by the time I got into high school, I had done 3 shows, and in high school, I did a lot of theater, and when I went to college, I knew I was gonna major in it.
Right.
And I had my equity card by my second semester in college going to school in Washington.
Yeah.
And I did a lot of theater, expecting to be a musical theater actor.
Yeah.
And when I got into Yale School of Drama and went there, something changed my mind. And I wanted to be a PR person.
Yeah.
And they had an arts administration program, and the professor who ran it said to me, "You're going to be miserable doing this kind of stuff because you were born to perform."
Sure.
And actually, I preferred public relations and marketing, and I've done it ever since.
Isn't that
so? I haven't performed since, I'm going to say 35 years since I've been on the stage.
Sure.
I was supposed to do a show last year called Considering Matthew Shepard, which is an oratorio by Craig Hella Johnson, and DeCamera Singers were doing it, and they brought me on board to narrate it.
Right.
And I got sick about a week before the show and had to bow out. And that had been my planned return to the stage. So the fact that the Springfield Chamber Players asked me to jump in
I love this. So we got to tell everybody when this is going to be. Then I'm going to play a Peter Schickele number that Nellie is a nice girl.
Okay.
For us.
Listen carefully, people that are listening right now. You can find the information at SpringfieldSymphonyMusicians.com. And if you go to their website and you click on it and you'll get the ticket information, go and buy your ticket and enter the discount code SCP1 and you'll get $5 off a ticket.
I got to write this down. So the concert is this weekend coming up?
This Sunday at the First Church on the Green in Long Meadow. Showtime is 3:00. And again, SpringfieldSymphonyMusicians.com and use the discount code SCP1 as though it was Springfield Chamber Players 1.
I got it down here. Old Bob is at it again. Sunday at 3. I really want to see this. I really want to see this. So I especially since it's your return to the stage, it's the least I could do for you, my friend.
Oh my gosh! If I know that you're in the audience,
I don't want you to. Oh God, please! I'm not.
It's like playing Fanny Bryce and finding out that Barbara Streisand's in the back row. You know?
I am not. I am a loving audience member. I applaud for anything. If you came on stage with a T-shirt and twinkling lights, I would be standing and whatever. I just love anyone that has the guts to get up there and perform, and those that also like you know what you're doing. So I'm really happy.
Yeah. What's interesting is though every week on Westville Community Programming and 89.5.
Yeah, where you can see you all the time.
I host 2 programs a week, and that's like doing theater when you think about it, because you have to attract an audience's attention and keep them entertained for an hour.
Oh my God, you're exactly right. Just before we go to it, then, if folks are looking to listen or watch you on your show, tell us when they are.
Well, Wednesdays are on the mark at 9 a.m. generally, and Fridays are Arts Beat at 8 o'clock. And you can find them if you want to stream them. They're on YouTube, but you can either watch on Westfield Community Programming, listen on 89.5 FM WSKB, or Agawam Media or Southwick Community Television. This great little network of 4 stations plus YouTube means that your show, Bob, and mine reach a big audience.
Oh God, yeah. People always laugh at me.
My show is going on the road on Friday of this week.
Yeah.
Stefan Saporowski and I are taping 2-hour-long programs from Barnes Airport, where we're going to profile the aviation students at Westville Technical Academy, and that'll be coming out on the air later in the month.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Listen, Rosie was a nice girl. But you got to listen to the lyrics. This is around, and it's from an album, I think, called something about At the Ground Round or something like that. But, yes.
When I heard this, it made me remember that restaurant on the West Springfield Rotary, called the Ground Round, where you got the big bowls of popcorn before you eat.
Oh my God, yes. This is a musical round. Now, they do an encore, so stick with it. In the middle, there is some applause, and then they do an encore, and you'll laugh at it. Okay.
Hey, Bob, what song number am I going to?
You're going to song number 2. No, wait a minute. Song number 3. I'm so sorry. No, wait a minute. Where is it? It's song number 5.
All right, let me find it.
Oh, my gosh. I forgot that we had been having such a great talk. I was supposed to play another song or 2, but you know what? It's our show.
This is why I asked, Bob.
Yeah, it's exactly
right. All right,
right.
so we're doing song number 5.
Song number 5. Nellie is a Nice Girl from The Art of the Ground Round.
Nellie is a nice girl, but Hannah is a horrible prude. Paul is a policeman. policeman, but Peter is a pimply and rude young man. Sammy is a singer and a good one too. Doobie doobie doo, show it to him once and he will sing it new. Doobie 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 doo, doobie doobie doo. He will do his duty and his duty is a doobie doobie doo. Doo is a nice way to do, and it's a doobie doo. Sammy is a nice and a good one. Jenna is a horrible. Peter is a pimply and he will do his duty. Sammy is a singer and a good one. Doobie-doobie-doo. Show it to him once and he will sing it. Doobie-doobie-doo. He will do his duty and his duty. Sammy is a nice man, a good one. And it's a doobie-doobie-doo. Show it to him once and he will sing it. Doobie-doobie-doo. It's a doobie-doo. He will do his duty and his duty. Le jour de gloire est arrivé. Oh, arrivé. Nellie's a nice girl, but Hannah's a horrible prude. Paul is a policeman, but Peter is a pimply and rude young man. Sandy's a nice girl, a good one too. Hannah is a horrible prude. He will do his duty and his duty. Paul is a policeman, but Peter is a pimply. He will do his duty and his duty. Sandy's a nice girl, a good one, but Hannah is a horrible prude. Sammy is a nice girl, a good one, but Hannah is a horrible prude. Sammy is a singer and a good one too. Doobie-doobie-doo. Show it to him once and he will sing it. He's a nice girl, a good one too. Le jour de gloire est arrivé.
Underwriting for community radio is provided by the YMCA of Greater Westfield. Every day, the YMCA strengthens the community through programs and services focused on youth development, healthy living, and social responsibility. For all the Y's many programs and services, visit us on the web at www.westfieldymca.org. The YMCA, 67 Court Street in downtown Westfield. We're more than a gym. We're a cause.
This is Ken Stomsky from Ken's Den on WCPC 15 and 89.5 FM, Tuesdays, 8 to 10.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Wow, it is Tuesday, May 7th, 2023, and counting. This is Bob Plass. I am here. It's the Westfield on Weekend Show, and guess who we've got? I've got Mark Auerbach, extraordinaire, critic extraordinaire. You are back on the scene, bigger and bright. No, I don't want to say bigger. You're not bigger. Both of us are smaller than we were a year ago. Let's face it, right?
That's true. That's definitely true.
Yeah. We're both smaller, we're both healthier, and we are both feeling our oats. And you are a bit younger than I, but I am so glad to have, well, we've known each other for like 4,000 years, right? How many?
I think we've known each other at least 40 years because...
Yeah, more than that. 70.
I came to the Springfield Symphony in 1982.
So 82, but I knew you, Oh, my God. Yes, 1980. Okay, that's it. So that's 18 plus 24 is
It's 43 years, Bob.
43 years, a grown man on the cusp of 50. Holy mother, that's our relationship. Gosh, amazing. We kind of have really kind of done well for ourselves in a sense, right? If you think about it, we're still here. I'm still here, as Stephen Sondheim says.
I'm glad to still be here. A year ago, it didn't look like I was going to be. But as I've come back to life and with the help of great people at Mass General, my outlook on things has changed. And what I really want to do for my next chapter of my life is what I really enjoy, and that's broadcasting and working in the arts.
Yeah. You managed to get some of the biggest talent on your show here on WCPC and WSKB. When I heard you had the wife of Neil Simon, the great actress Marsha Mason on your show?
Marsha Mason, the ex-wife of Neil Simon.
Oh, ex-wife.
They had a great marriage and then a bitter divorce.
Oh, my gosh.
And, Marsha Mason was starring in All My Sons at Hartford Stage, so I just reached out and said, could you, do a show? I've had some really incredible people on ArtSpeed and on the Mark. And I love introducing people that are accomplished to the audience that we have.
Yeah. Who was out of all the folks since you've been doing the show, would you say, the most interesting? That's a terrible question because everyone's interesting, but somebody whose stories were just incredible or had a life spirit that you really began to appreciate.
Well, all of these stories of the people I'm going to mention are archived on YouTube on WSKB Community Radio, so people could go and listen to them. One was the actor Jay Sefton, who is about to star in the world premiere of his autobiographical play called Unreconciled at Chester Theater.
Oh.
And Jay is not only an actor, but he's a therapist. And the show was done in workshop last year, and it's the story of a junior high school boy in a Catholic summer theater program who's abused by a priest and how he recovers and moves on. And it's Jay's own story. So I had him on for an hour in March, and I read the script for the play when it was going to be workshopped a year ago. Never got to see it, but now it's being done as a full production. And people in the know say that the show will go from Chester Theater either to film or television or Broadway. Wow. And it's a really incredible script that he wrote, but it's a better story that he tells about himself.
Yeah.
That interview will stay with me forever.
Wow.
Getting to interview Ernest Thompson, who wrote On Golden Pond.
Oh, my gosh.
For an hour. That was another show that I was thrilled about. And then
Ernest Thompson was the writer of the playwright of and he did the movie as well with Peter Fonda.
He wrote the
Katharine
Broadway
Hepburn.
play. He wrote the film screenplay. Then he wrote another play called The West Side Waltz.
I remember it. Dorothy Loudon.
And Dorothy Loudon, yeah.
Yeah.
But I was able to get him on my show because he and I had gone to college together.
Oh,
so
for
I
God's
kind of reached
sake.
into my past for that.
Yeah.
And he was a great interview. But some of my favorite interviews are with people that I know through my work. One interview, one person I always love having on is Kevin Rhodes, who was the former music director of the Springfield Symphony.
Yeah.
And he comes back on the show. I mean, he lived in Westfield, but he comes back on the show and he's working in Europe.
Oh, yeah. Is that where he is? He's not connected at all to the symphony at all?
No. they during the pandemic they decided not to renew his contract.
Oh,
And
boy.
he has a lot of European gigs, but he's
Yeah.
a great interview.
Yeah.
There's an actress starring in The Mystery of Edwin Drood at Goodspeed,
Oh, my
a
God.
woman named Mamie Paris, who starred on Broadway in the last revival of Cats. And she was the standby for Kristen Chenoweth in 20th Century
Oh,
and went
gosh.
on a lot. And
Ah.
Mamie is starring in the title role of Mystery of Edwin Drood.
Yeah.
And last Christmas, she was afflicted with Bell's palsy, and which is a horrible
Yeah.
disease that paralyzes the nerves in the side of your face.
Yeah, I
And
remember.
she's able to work through it and get back on stage. And her story airs, I think, in next week or the week after. And talk about survival. It's an incredible story that she tells about how she got back on her feet. And it's a story like that that makes me want to put somebody on the air.
Yeah.
I tell my own story through interviewing people that helped me get through my health crisis. My kidney doctor, Dr.
Did you
George.
bring him on your show? Yeah.
I did, because he's a fascinating guy. He was born in Beirut, and
Uh-huh.
he's probably in his early 50s. So
Yeah.
before the revolution and before Beirut sunk, it was known as the Paris of the Mediterranean.
Yeah.
And his parents sent him to high school and college in France. And then when he graduated, he went back to Beirut to go to medical school. And then it got too difficult to live in Lebanon. And he decided he wanted to do a residency or a fellowship in America. And he ended up at UConn in Farmington. And then from there went to San Francisco and then got a job in Springfield. And he's this unique guy, foreign educated, and speaks 6 languages fluently.
My gosh.
Has had this phenomenal life. And I really wanted to talk to him more about his life
than your kidney.
Yeah, but we did talk about kidney disease because I'm a poster child for people that have it, and diabetes, that really need to watch themselves so they don't end up like me.
Yeah. Just an aside here then. Kidney disease and diabetes are connected. I'm so out of that kind of thing. I don't know.
They are. If you've had diabetes a long time,
right?
I was diagnosed when I was a teenager, and I was able to control it pretty well. But eventually, if you had it long enough, your kidneys get impacted, and it's worse for people with type 2 diabetes who develop it because of bad eating habits or can be passed along because of your culture. So people that get type 1 or type 2 are more prone to it than people that don't have diabetes.
Sure.
And the thing is, if you can manage your diabetes well, your kidneys will function. I was in an accident. I broke my leg about 5 years ago.
Oh, I remember this.
I bled internally, so that knocked out one kidney. And I was you can live with one, but diabetes got a hold of my second one. And a year ago, I went into kidney failure, not knowing it. And then as a result, had a massive heart attack. And it was in July. They said my chances of survival were limited. And I ended up deciding, with the help of a good kidney doctor, that if I got myself stronger, I would go to Boston and have the heart surgery, which I had on January 30th.
Right.
In the meantime, I'm on the transplant list at Mass General, and I am the spokesperson for people becoming donors by getting it on your driver's license, because you won't need them if you're dead.
Right here. I got it. I got it.
A lot of people do.
Yeah.
And to consider being a donor, there are 100,000 people in America that need a kidney transplant right now. And they wait on a waiting list for up to 5 or 6 years. They go on dialysis, which I do. And
Mark, when are you scheduled for, or are you still on that waiting list, or what's that?
I'm on the list. I have a potential donor, but the donor and I both need to be rescreened. So
gotcha.
I'm starting that process to make sure that I'm strong enough to survive that surgery.
Yeah. Well, your story is important. I always think that stories like that are really, sometimes people question, well, why are you letting, how we always talk, Bob's lost a lot of weight and therefore he must be ill or whatever. I mean, you don't ever want to bring it out in public, or many people do. Say, oh, you can't talk about it in public, but I think it's so
really
important.
Want to talk about it, but how do you tell people you need a kidney if you don't talk about it?
Yeah.
And a friend of mine who I'm very close to said, look, we're all in media. We know how to tell other people's stories. Think about telling yours.
Yeah.
And I came in the studio with Patrick Berry and Peter Coles. Came in and engineered at 7:00 in the morning. We taped an hour, and Patrick was looking for a serious story to tell, and I was looking to reveal that I needed a transplant, and we did it on my program. And
so great.
Went to YouTube, and I've been able to share it with a lot of people. Mass General took it, and they show it to people to let them know that all kinds of people need kidney transplants.
Sure.
I will continue to be a spokesperson for it even after I get a transplant.
It's so important. I have been wrestling with some health issues, as you all know, and I've been dickering as to whether there's folks are waving at me out there. I have back in, oh my God, July or so, I went in for a regular screening of this hematoma. You have these little hematomas all over your body as you get older, these little red spots or something. It's very common to have it inside, and so every now and then I have an ultrasound. So we did the ultrasound, and we found out, and because there are no symptoms attached to I have fatty liver disease. And fatty liver disease is something that people walk around without knowing that they have. And without knowing that they have fatty liver disease, they can drink up a storm. They can move into cirrhosis. They can, from there, move into stage 4 liver disease, where you actually do need to have a liver transplant. Now, you can live with a tiny little amount of liver, but no one wants to go through that. And I have been really sort of tossed it because people said, the doctor said, well, Bob, you got to lose some weight. So I went on the way and I lost 40 pounds. I worked on it. I stopped drinking. I stopped eating red meat because that's part of it. I learned what the liver has or whatever. But I haven't, till this moment, till you just said that, talked about it on the show. And I want folks to know I'm very, very healthy. And but, if you have ever been diagnosed with fatty liver, or you are a big drinker, or a drug user of any type, I suppose it's very important to talk with your doctor on this, because you don't find it out. This is one of those incidental-itis things where somebody gets an illness that they don't know they have, and then suddenly, oh my God, you go in for something and they say, oh no, you got this. Well, for me, it happened the day before Oktoberfest. I found this out. I mean, Pumpkin Fest. So here I am walking around Pumpkin Fest thinking I'm on my way out. They thought I was in stage 3, which is cirrhosis. And I said, but I'm not a big drinker. I'm not a big drugger. I'm a big drugger. I don't use drugs. But in terms of things like Tylenol and all those things that I've taken, or when I was a youth, and it might be hereditary or whatever. So I go to the Mass General Liver Center, because all my friends said, you need another opinion. The Mass General Liver Center did all kinds of workups on me, and they recently said to me, Bob, we don't need to see you any longer. You've done your work. Continue doing your work. My hepatologist, my gastroenterologist in Springfield said, Bob, we necessarily think that they're right about that. You may be at the beginning of cirrhosis or whatever, but we're going to test you every 6 months or so just to keep on. But you are right where you should be, weight-wise and food-wise, and we want you to not to drink. You could have an occasional alcoholic drink or whatever if you wish, but I don't. I found the joy in living, and like you, I said to myself, well, I can not talk about it, or I can talk about it. So here you're the catalyst for me to talk about it.
I'm going to interrupt you, Bob. Yeah. One thing you mentioned is Mass General.
Yeah.
I am under the care of people at Mass General now.
Yeah.
I had my heart surgery there. I'll have my transplant there. And Mass General has a partnership with Cooley Dickinson in Northampton.
Yes.
So I can have my blood work done at Cooley Dickinson. I can see my cardiologist at Cooley Dickinson. And for people that are in our listening and viewing area that want an alternative to a local hospital, but want to be affiliated with one of the world's finest,
yes,
go to Cooley Dickinson.
Yeah.
And it's a partner of Mass General.
Yeah. And it's interesting that even though I work with a Bay State Health Systems doctor, wonderful doctor, what they're saying is that if indeed it ever got to a point where we needed to bring in Mass General's Liver Center, you're now connected to them as well. Did you have that sense of this doctor says this, and I need to have that second opinion, and or maybe even a third opinion?
I had that when I was in Bay State last summer, suffering from kidney failure and heart disease, and they wanted to operate right away.
Yeah.
And my friend who was looking after me said, you should get a second opinion.
Right.
And since I was on the transplant list at Mass General, I called them and they said, we have a great cardiology program. And they set me up for the second opinion with Mass General. And once I had that, I realized I would have my surgery there.
Yeah.
Because Bay State performed the kind of operation that I had 3 or 4 times a month. And my surgeon at Mass General performed 4 to 5 a week.
Yeah.
That's a big difference.
Sure, absolutely. And the interesting thing was that my Bay State doctor said, if indeed it doesn't look like you're going to, you can live for a long time here. But if indeed we find anything that would predicate more use, we would recommend and help you to go back to Dr. Andrea Reed was my doctor at Mass Liver Disease. But it's so funny when people see you now. Do they see you through the filter of your challenges, your health challenges? I wonder.
No, I mean, being open about it really brought more people into my circle.
Sure.
People were saying, how can we help? Can we take that video and share it with other people?
Yeah.
I got interviewed by Business West. I had a chance to write about being an entrepreneur.
Right.
I had a chance to write for a magazine on how I kept my business going while I was off my feet.
My God.
So
yeah.
People would come to me and say, can you apply your story to this or to that?
Right,
and
right.
I had nobody said anything negative about it, about my experiences, and people seem to be on my team. So I am glad I came out with needing a transplant. It makes all the difference in the world.
Oh my gosh. I admire you so much, especially when I learned much, because you were I knew of you. I knew what was happening, of course. And suddenly I'm in a sort of similar position in a way, much different, much different. But then at that same time, confronting your own mortality, confronting the idea that maybe I will not live forever, maybe I'm at a stage that I need to put some stuff together in my mind and whatever, you know.
I went through that this past summer while I was lying in the ICU, and I realized that the person I depended upon the most, who will remain nameless,
Yeah, sure.
kind of ditched me through this and just wasn't there for me at all.
Yeah.
And then one of my closest friends, who I admit is Patrick Berry,
We love him.
Patrick said to me, came to the ICU, and he said, "Look, I was ready to go to hospice." And he said, "You can't do that. You have too much going for you. You have to live. And if you agree that you will follow through and have the surgery, I'll be with you every step of the way." And he was, and that made a big difference. But I had people in my life that depended upon me in a variety of ways. So I had my will redone. I had a power of attorney given to somebody to look after me, healthcare proxy.
Right.
You know, you think I'm going to live forever, but you might as well have your estate in order. And this caused me to do it. And now I have that in place.
Do you find that you look at the gift of life in a different way than you did before? I mean, you don't take it for granted. I know that for sure. You are
I don't take it for granted.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that on the same token, I could walk out my front door because I'm an airhead and get hit by a PVTA bus.
Oh my God!
You know,
so true, Mark. So true.
You know, but I don't take anything for granted. But on the other hand, going through what I went through, today is more important than planning for the future. You know, I want to make today count on every level.
Yeah.
Number one, and not say, well, I'll put it off for a month or put it off for a year.
Yeah.
I want everything in order now.
Yeah.
And also, I appreciate people more. People that have been kind to me or good to me. And friends came out of the woodwork. People I did not know were close friends until this. And my mother had said to me once, you can count your true number of friends on the fingers of one hand.
Yeah. Very true.
I realize how true that is.
Yeah. So true. Do you think that the message for both of us to our listening and viewing audience would probably be something about do not be afraid of medical to check yourself out and to always have a connection to a doctor in some way and not be afraid. For instance, this fatty liver thing, I said to my own doctor, my own regular doctor, wonderful man, said, do you have fatty liver disease listed on my, because I had been told this years ago, and they said, what they usually say is, oh, everybody, 1 in 10 get it or whatever. Well, it turns out 1 in 5 have fatty liver disease and are walking around and don't know it. And it's not anything that all you have to do is change your eating habits and your lifestyle to keep it from progressing to stage 3. When it gets to stage 3, then unfortunately you have to treat things differently. Okay, so but the thing here is it's something, and help me to phrase this in the right way.
The thing. Here's the way I would phrase it.
Yeah,
it's important to know what your body is doing, so you need to know that you have a good healthcare group working for you. And my doctor works for me the way I perceive it. And you bring the best people you can get to be part of your team. The other thing you have to do is be an advocate for yourself. If you don't ask the questions or you don't demand certain things, it's not going to be offered.
Yeah.
And when I was lying in Bay State and the surgeon was telling me she was going to operate on me, and she had been written up in the New England Journal of Medicine, and she was touting her credentials.
Sure.
And I thought, well, that's nice. I was up for an Emmy nomination once, and it doesn't make any difference, really, what awards you have.
Yeah, no.
But I realized that she was interested in, and she was presenting herself to me as being, I'm great, and you're going to survive because of it. That's not the way I wanted to be treated.
No.
I wanted somebody who's going to say, I'm going to work for you and not work for me. And I did all my homework. I went on WebMD and all the websites and learned as much as I could learn about my condition so I could advocate for myself and ask the right questions.
Yeah. And I think that that's the important part. For me, I would say around fatty liver disease, because my doctor has told me that this is one of those diseases that so many people have and don't know it. And they could change their lifestyle and not progress into liver disease, full-blown liver disease. Fatty liver is something that we all need to kind of think about. And that
it's the same thing with diabetes.
Oh, is that right?
You can acquire diabetes because of bad diet, lack of exercise, lack of sleep, and obesity. And I don't want to fat shame anybody who's heavy.
No,
but
not at all.
The more weight that you can lose, the better your blood sugars are going to become.
Right.
And the better your blood sugars are going to become, the better your body is to cope and make its own insulin. So people that should be aware, a lot of it is diet related, and we are a nation of junk food eaters and a nation of carb loaders.
Yes.
And if you eat, you can still have that piece of chocolate cake at once in a while, but you can't have it every day.
Yeah.
And if people would learn to eat more sensibly and look at organic and grow their own and stop eating processed foods, a lot of the diabetes issues would go away.
Yeah. Yeah. It's about not being afraid to reality is the key here, don't you think? The idea,
you have to be honest with yourself about everything. But on the same token, don't beat yourself up.
Oh gosh, no, not at all.
And when I was in the hospital and they were saying to me, you should do this, 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 and this, and I said, but I don't have the greatest willpower in the world. I will cheat every once in a while. And they said to me, it's okay to cheat once in a while, but know what your restrictions and limitations should be and try to live within that boundary.
Yeah, yeah. And that's what I'm saying for folks. Like the idea that we are both here, both at a certain age, enjoying our lives in different ways with information that is important for ourselves to enjoy that life. Do you know what I'm saying?
I have a good friend of mine, somebody who's become a good friend of mine over the last year, who has diabetes.
Yeah.
And we talk about it because he can learn from me what not to do,
Yeah.
And yet, when I was 19 or 20, I mean, fried food, fast food, I lived on it. I love pizza, tons of black coffee and things like that.
Right.
I can still have coffee, but I have to moderate it. I can still have pizza, but not live on it.
Well, here's the good news for my fatty liver. Actually, coffee is good for your liver. Believe it or not, no one. So what do you?
Did Dr. Starbucks tell you that?
I think it was Dr. Hey, why don't we take a break? I'm going to play a song that harkens back to what we were talking about. This is Bette Midler's Friends. Peter, do you want? Peter's not there. Kenny, are you there? If indeed you are, I'd love to have you play Bette Midler's Friends song. Remember the Harlots?
The Harlots. In fact,
Harlots.
Bob. I interviewed a guy. The interview runs soon. His name is Kevin Winkler, and he just wrote a biography of Bette Midler.
No.
That is one of the best books I've ever read.
Oh, I can't wait. Oh, my gosh.
I'll bring it to the studio and leave it for you.
Oh, that would be wonderful. Bette Midler's song Friends that she did with Barry Manilow has her harlettes. Is that how you say it? Melissa Manchester is one of her harlettes. Later in Jennifer Lewis is one of her harlettes as well, believe it or not. And what was that woman on the Family Show? She's a biker. She was oh God, she's on that Married with Children. Oh God, remember she was one of the harlots as well. Yeah. Oh God, I can't remember her name. So Kenny,
Melissa Manchester.
Yes, tell me.
She's playing the mother of Fanny Bryce in the national tour of Funny Girl, and that's coming to the Bushnell in June.
See, there's full circle all the way. Kenny, let's hear Bette Midler's version from her first album, The Divine Miss M, Friends.
And I am all alone. There is no one here beside me. And my problems have all gone. There is no one to deride me. But you got to have friends. The feelings are so strong. You got to have friends to make that day last long. I had some friends, but they're gone. Something came and took them away, and from the dusk till the dawn, here is where I'll stay. Standing at the end of the road, boys, waiting for my new friends to come. I don't care if I'm hungry or cold. I'm gonna get me some of them, 'cause you got to have friends. Friends, that's right, you. Oh, you, yeah, you. I said you got to have some friends. I'm talking about friends. That's right, friends. Friends. I had some friends, but they're all gone. Someone came and snatched them away, and from the dusk until the very dawn. You know, here's where I gotta stay. And I'm standing at the end of a real long road, and I'm waiting for my new friends to come. I don't care if I'm hungry or freezing cold. I'm gonna get me some of them, 'cause you got to have friends. That's right, friends. I gotta be mine. Look around and see all of my friends. Oh, friends, that's right,
Support for community radio on WSKB is provided by Betts Plumbing and Heating Supply Company, an independent, family-owned wholesaler serving Westfield for over 50 years, specializing in plumbing, heating, and industrial piping supplies. On the web at bettsplumbing.com or at 14 Coleman Avenue in Westfield.
I'm Mark Auerbach. Join me every Friday at 8 a.m. for ArtsBeat, where you'll meet interesting actors, directors, designers, and musicians here in Western New England.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Wow, it is Tuesday. We're having a great conversation with our great friend, Mark Auerbach, critic extraordinaire. You can read, look, I was just looking at your article in the Westfield News. You see it?
Every week, ArtsBeat runs. I'm not sure what day of the week it runs, but it runs Monday online.
Well, it's Monday here, too, because I got it this morning. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And you write a great column. You really do.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You call me critic extraordinaire, and one thing I've got to tell you is when I got sick, I stopped reviewing shows because I just didn't have the energy to go to the theater.
Sure.
And I was able to go back to work on March 20th, and I've actually gone to the theater twice. Once to see The Mystery of Edwin Drood at Goodspeed, which is fabulous.
Yeah.
And once to see All My Sons at Hartford Stage, which was unique. And unfortunately, that's already closed.
Sure.
But I'm really more of a reporter than I am a critic.
But you have a sense of good theater. I'm getting a feedback here, Kenny. Can you hear my echo? I should sing When I'm Calling You. Oh, there it's gone. Okay, got it. There we are. All right. So, Mark, though, I think you have a sense of theater. I think you have a sense of what you know. I mean, like you know when something is good. You know when it's a little off. You're able to judge the difference between a so-so performance and a great performance, etc. So I think you're a critic.
That comes with years of theater going, as well as years of being a journalist. I don't put my own sense of taste in a review or a story.
No.
Because I think that's wrong. My likes and dislikes are irrelevant. But I am in awe of people, whether it's a professional production or a high school show. I'm in awe of the energy that it takes to get a show up and running and the work that people do to make that happen. So I'm respectful of that. And sometimes there's really, I see great things and sometimes I see things that I don't care for. I'm very honest in my appraisals. If the play or the music doesn't work, I'll be negative about that. But I will never be negative about a person who is an actor or a musician because they're putting their best foot forward and maybe they don't have it. Maybe they missed the boat or something like that. But credit them with the energy and the desire that they have to make it happen.
Oh yeah. Remember that critic from New York Magazine, John Simon?
Vicious. And that's sort of what made people read him. They wanted to go, what will he say about Liza? Or what will he say about so-and-so? I can't do that. I mean, I have an integrity level that will not allow me to trash somebody for the sake of trashing.
Sure. Well, then here's a question for you. You know that moment at the end of a play when people will stand up for anything? The play is average. It's a good show. And then suddenly the people are on their feet applauding and applauding. The standing ovation has sort of become something that's almost obligatory. And I wonder what you feel when that happens. And do you, like me, sometimes say, oh, God, but I have to stand up because I don't want to be the one sitting down, the negative Nelly?
Yeah, I mean, I feel that way when everybody jumps to their feet. But on the same token, people that are jumping to their feet and applauding wildly got something out of the show or enjoyed it. And
that's a good way of looking at it.
I look at it that way.
Yeah.
I've seen shows where people don't stand up and applaud and they applaud quietly or they don't applaud, which means they didn't like it. But when you see somebody who goes to the theater 2 or 3 times a year and you're going every week and they're jumping up and down because that performance meant something to them, well, that's what theater's all about.
Well, that's exactly right. And what theater's all about, of course, is the Tonys. And the Tonys this year are very interesting. They're going to be telecast on CBS, I think. And am I right? On June 11th?
Yes, June 16th.
June 16th.
Sunday night. The Tony Awards this year, first of all, there's been more activity on Broadway this season than there has been in 5 years. I mean, close to 40 shows opened on an average, it's usually 32 or 33.
My gosh,
And
yeah.
most of them opened the second half of the season, like February through April.
Right.
And in some categories, there are as many as 7 nominees for Tony Awards.
They don't have a numerical number that they cut off.
Well, it used to be 5,
right?
But and then 3 if there weren't enough nominees. But in some categories, there were ties and all of that. But there is a local connection. And first of all, nominated for Best Featured Actress in a Musical is Leslie Rodriguez Kritzer for her role as the Lady of the Lake in the revival of Spamalot.
Oh.
And she is an associate artist at Barrington Stage.
No.
In Pittsfield.
Oh.
And nominated for a Drama Desk and a Drama League performance for Best Actor in a Musical is Ali Louis Bourgie, who's making his Broadway debut in the title role of Tommy. And he grew up in Pittsfield and got his acting start at Berkshire Theater Group and Barrington Stage. So we have 2 locals this year.
Oh my gosh. And isn't there another Pittsfield? Is that Mike Wardello?
Mike Wartella. And Mike Wartella is coming back to Berkshire Theater to do a stage version of Pink Floyd's The Wall at the end of May.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And so Mike Wardella from Pittsfield is in Tommy as well. Yeah.
No, he's not.
No, he's not in Tommy.
Only Ali Bourgie is.
I gotcha. Well, if we look at Best Musical, we've got Hell's Kitchen, Ellen Noyes, The Outsiders, Suffs, and Water for Elephants. Could we talk about
shows, really fascinating shows in all categories? And what's kind of interesting this year is Stephen Sondheim's musical Merrily We Roll Along is nominated in a bunch of categories.
Right.
It's nominated as a Best Revival.
Right.
But this was his biggest flop of all time. It opened in 1981, lasted 14 performances, and folded. Thankfully, they made an original cast recording because the score is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And over the last 40 years, people have tried to tinker with it and revive it, and Sondheim reworked it. And there were all these productions, and none of them were big hits. And then a British director, Maria Friedman, who's an actor and has starred in a lot of Sondheim in London, she revised it for London. And then the revival came to off-Broadway here, where it was a big hit, and now is on Broadway. And it's one of Sondheim's most successful commercial musicals.
It is so wild because
2 years after his death, he's still on Broadway. And off-Broadway this year, a musical he was working on opened called Here We Are.
Right.
And it's being recorded now. I don't know what kind of a future it has, but the recording will be out any day.
Yes. So the very idea that we've got these very new musicals, many of which, for instance, Hell's Kitchen, we're going to play a song as we go out from Hell's Kitchen later in the show, but Hell's Kitchen has a score by Alicia Keys. And it's her story of growing up. It's another one. I think it's a biographical, but it is not like the Heart of Rock and Roll, which is now on Broadway, which is the a use of Huey Lewis's music, but not his life. There, we've had Beautiful, the Carole King story, et cetera, et cetera. And what's that Neil Diamond one that you said is coming to the
Beautiful Noise.
Beautiful Noise, yes. But the Hell's Kitchen has music by, what's the woman's name again? I just said Alicia Keys. Then Ellen Noyes is a very interesting piece of stuff because it's dance music.
By Justin Peck, who's a real up-and-coming choreographer with New York City Ballet.
And it's a musical, so it's danced, but their band sings the music of Sufjan. Oh God, Sufjan James. Stevens, Sufjan Stevens.
One of the nominees for Best Play, which has got the most nominations,
right,
is a play called Stereophonic,
right,
which talks about a 70s rock band in the recording studio, and it's a play with music, and the music has been nominated for outstanding score, but the play itself has been nominated for Best Play.
And it's a play, but it's not a musical, whereas this dance musical, apparently, it's helping Broadway to stretch in a lot of ways. We had the Contact musical years ago. Remember that? It was a dance. It won a Tony, and it was a dance thing. But this has been defined by a story. There's an arc in it, et cetera, et cetera. Then we got that Outsiders musical. Now, this, again, is rock music. All of these things are really we're not talking Rodgers and Hammerstein or John Kander and Ebb. We're talking something that's stretching the boundaries. When we think of classic Broadway, we think of pop music. This is rock music, rap, jazz, whatever. Am I right there, Mark?
Yeah, people are going to new sources like Water for Elephants, which is a nominee for Best Musical.
Right.
Comes from a very popular book. There's a show about to open at Goodspeed,
right,
which I venture to think will go to Broadway,
right,
because they send so many shows to Broadway.
Right.
It's the story of a theater impresario who was a real person. It's called A Complicated Woman. It's the story of John Kenley, who was a theater producer.
The Kenley Players in Ohio or Kansas?
He had 3 or 4 theaters, and he brought major stars like of the day, Jane Mansfield, Burt Reynolds, Ann Miller, to star in plays and musicals in his theaters. And during the off season, he would retreat to Miami and live life as a woman named Jean. And gradually, Jean would take over to some degree. People would call looking for John, and she would say, "I'm Jean. I'm his secretary. How can I help you?"
Honest
and
to
so
God.
he lived a complicated life as a gender bending individual.
Right.
And Goodspeed is producing this musical about John Kenley, Jean Kenley, known as A Complicated Woman. And many of the people that are cast in it are not gender conforming. One of the stars of it is an actor named L. Morgan Lee, who was the first transgender actor to be nominated for a Tony Award for
Strange Loop?
Strange Loop, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Sounds so interesting. We always hear these stories bemoaning the death of theater, death of Broadway or whatever. And what I think is very interesting to me is that there just seems to be an energy in the Broadway show scene that has never been there before, despite the exorbitant costs of going to Broadway.
It's so expensive. It's unbelievably expensive. There are ways to get cheap tickets. One is called TDF.
Yeah.
If you're a student or a senior, or you're in the military, or you're a teacher, or you work for a nonprofit, you can become eligible to join TDF. And you can get discount
Theater
vouchers.
Development Fund, right?
Right.
Yeah.
TDF.org. And you can get discounted tickets if you qualify for Broadway shows. So a show early in its run, before it's built momentum, you get tickets. A friend and I, a few years ago, this friend was a teacher in high school.
Right.
And belonged to TDF. We went to see Pal Joey with Stockard Channing.
Oh, yeah. I remember this.
I think our tickets were $18 for a matinee.
Wow.
And they were in the orchestra. So it is possible to get and find good deals.
What is that place in the center of Broadway? Is that TDF as well?
TKTS.
TKTS.
You can get discounted tickets there. There's one at Times Square.
The day of, right?
day of, and there's one at South Street Seaport, which never has lines.
Yeah.
If you're going.
Yeah.
But if you're a senior student or whatever the qualifications are, join TDF. The annual fee is whatever it is, pays for itself over and over and over again if you go to the theater.
Yeah. This Suffs musical that's been nominated, which is about suffragettes, was that at Williamstown or was that somewhere here near us?
It played off Broadway.
Oh, did it? Okay.
First, and Hillary Clinton is one of the producers.
Oh, you got to be kidding. No. Amazing. It's all women. It's right. I think maybe there's a couple of men in the show, but
no, it's all women it's all women.
Yeah. And then Water for Elephants. Water for Elephants is the most traditional of those musicals. Am I probably right?
Well, it's a book musical, but it involves a lot of circus skills, acrobats.
Yes.
It has a different look and feel to it than your typical musical.
Yeah. So again, the best musicals are Hell's Kitchen, Illinois' The Outsiders. Remember that film, The Outsiders, with what's the big guy's name? Well, they were all in it. Kevin Bacon and whatever, I think, were all in this Outsider movie. Suffs and Water for Elephants. Now, the best revival of a musical, because folks, when they go to New York, they should see plays as well as musicals. Plays are always less expensive than musicals. Am I right? If you can't afford a musical,
not anymore.
Not anymore.
There are so many stars from movies and television that come to New York to do a play.
Oh God!
Like there's a revival of Uncle Vanya,
a
Russian classic.
Yes,
and it stars Steve Carell from The Office.
Oh gosh! Oh my God! And Jeremy Strong from Succession, one of my favorite actors, an English actor, is in Enemy of the People as well. Yeah, but the revivals of musicals are very interesting because they've got this cabaret at the Cat Club. Cabaret at the Cat Club is different than cabaret, period. This is one of those musicals that seems to get a revival every 3 years or so. But this one is very interesting. It's from London, am I right? I've seen some takes.
It came from London. It stars Eddie Redmayne, who's a movie star.
Right.
The reviews on it are very mixed.
I was surprised.
Phoebe Newworth is in it too.
Yeah.
The theater's been redone as a club with tables with phones and bar service and food service, and you arrive ahead of time. You go through a dark alley as though you were going into a Berlin nightclub in the 1920s. There's entertainment before the show, and it's all style. And somehow, from what the reviews say, the substance of cabaret, which is still so relevant today,
right,
is kind of lost in the shuffle of the style.
Oh, got it. Sure.
People who have never seen cabaret before will probably find it absolutely fascinating because you'll go early and somebody sleazy will.
Oh yeah, it's an hour show. Believe it or not, they've programming for like 6 o'clock, and the show is at 7:30. So you can go at 6, have drinks. I think you can even eat there, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you can. Yeah. It's if you go to the website, it's pretty expensive.
Pretty expensive.
But the show itself, I mean, cabaret with the rise of fascism and the anti-Semitism there's so much in today's
hedonism basically too, drug use and stuff.
World that it parallels, and the show is over 60 years old.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And then we talked about Merrily Roll Along, but Merrily Roll Along has two of the most famous, television and Broadway and Hollywood stars, Jonathan Groff and Daniel Radcliffe, of all people. You know who Daniel Radcliffe is, folks?
He was Harry Potter.
Yes.
But he also came to the United States. He did Equus, but he starred in How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying.
Yeah.
A few years ago. He is a very talented actor.
Very talented. And he was very wise right after leaving Harry Potter that he went, correct me if I'm wrong, Mark, but he went from that movie to do Equus, where he was naked in Equus. And it's a very strong, tortured individual. So he went from playing this young man to this young man, but had really lots of things going on. He's a very fine actor, and what
he is equally at home on stage as he is in movies and TV.
Yeah, I really believe that. Well, James said to me yesterday, I just hope they've taped this production of Merrily We Roll Along so that I can see the three of Lindsay Mendez, another Mendez. Is the third star in this this stage version, and then the Who's Tommy has been nominated. So the revivals are Cabaret at the Kit Kat Club, Merrily We Roll Along, the Who's Tommy, and then Gutenberg the Musical, which is an off-Broadway show that has come back. Is that why it's a revival?
Off-Broadway, and it moved to Broadway for a limited run with Andrew Rannells and Josh Gad, who were co-stars in the Book of Mormon.
Ah, got it. Gotcha. Well, you know what? We're going to take a little break here, Kenny. It's just a 2-minute segment to have you hear the beautiful music of Stephen Sondheim with the stars of Merrily Roll Along, Lindsay Mendez, Daniel Radcliffe, and Jonathan Groff with the company. This is the song Art Time, and you're going to get a sense of this wonderful musical. It's about friendship in a sense. And you see these guys go backwards in time from where they were. It's a backwards musical, isn't it? You go backwards, or wait a minute, forward. How is it?
It goes backwards. It starts in the 70s and goes back.
Yes. So, and when they used to meet on a rooftop. So when you hear that lyric, you'll hear this. All right, Our Time from Merrily We Roll Along.
It's our time, breathe it in. Worlds to change and worlds to win. Our turn coming through. Me and you, pal, me and you. Years from now, we'll remember and we'll come back by the rooftop and hang a plaque. This is where we began, being what we can. It's our heads on the block. Give us room and start the clock. Our dreams coming true. Me and you, pal, me and you. Me and you, me and you. Me and you, me and you. Me and you, me and you. Me and you.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
I was just looking. That's a wonderful song, incidentally, isn't it? I love that. It's extended in the score, and it's now out on record. That particular production, the new production's out on record. But just get these names: Leslie Odom Jr., Liv Shriver, Jeremy Strong, Jessica Lang, Rachel McAdams, Sarah Paulson, Amy Ryan, Jonathan Graff, Dorian Harewood, Brian Darcy James, Eddie Redmayne, Kelly O'Hara, oh my gosh, Jim Parsons, Corey Stoll. All of these people are Roger Bart. I'm telling you, Daniel Radcliffe, Shoshana Bean. Leslie Rodriguez Kritzer, B.B. Newworth, all nominated. You can see Hollywood has discovered Broadway. Don't you think that's the case?
I agree. And you mentioned Leslie Odom Jr., who really rose to fame in Hamilton. He starred in Purlie Victorious, which is an old Ossie Davis play.
Yeah.
And that's where he got his Tony nomination from. And PBS filmed that, and that's going to be shown on Great Performances.
I cannot wait. Oh my gosh, that's so good. Mark, the idea here is that you can go to Broadway, but you don't have to go to Broadway to see these wonderful shows. In the in the Pioneer Valley and beyond, there's lots of summers.
What I would say is a lot of the talent and a lot of the work that goes to Broadway these days originates either at Barrington Stage, Berkshire Theater Group up in the Berkshires,
right,
or at Hartford Stage and TheaterWorks.
TheaterWorks in Hartford.
Hartford has several people involved in it that are Tony nominees and Drama Desk nominees this year, and Goodspeed, of course. So there are at least 5 theaters, and then you add on Chester, Wham, Shakespeare and Company, Williamstown.
You can go to McHayden in the summertime, which is in outside of Albany, where
and they're all good theater companies, and we have them here in our backyard.
Right in the backyard.
Goodspeed from Springfield, Goodspeed is an hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Williamstown is 2 hours, but you can be in the Berkshires and Pittsfield in under an hour,
right,
or in Stockbridge in 50 minutes, or Great Barrington.
Can I ask a question? Suppose somebody's visiting our area and they haven't wisely gotten a subscription. Well, they're not a subscription if they're just visiting, but haven't gone to a website and want to see some theater. What do you do? Call the box office at the theater? Is there a TKTS of the area at all?
It is a TKTS kind of thing in the Berkshires, but you have to be a Berkshire resident to participate in it. If I'm looking to get tickets for friends, I either call the box office or buy them online.
Right.
And I forgot to mention one theater that I'm really fond of, and that's the Great Barrington Public Theater.
Oh my God!
Which does all new plays.
Yeah, they're really great as well. Just a quick thing, because you saw, I'm thinking of taking James for our anniversary down to see Mystery of Edwin Drood at Goodspeed. It's not there. It's there for about 3 or 4 more weeks, right?
It goes until the first weekend in June, but I mean, it's a great production, and I loved it a lot. But I think that the play at the Terrace Theater about John Kenley is going to be the hot ticket this month at Goodspeed.
Is that opening early June?
It opens next week. It's called A Complicated Woman, and it runs until I think the first weekend in June.
So, oh my God, that could be a real surprise for him, because he knew of John Kenley, of course, the Kenley Players. James, being a former Broadway actor, knew of Kenley, but I bet he didn't know Kenley's entire story. So Kenley's
entire story was sort of like a hush-hush. Everybody sort of knew about it, but I mean, I had heard stories about John Kenley when I was in college and auditioning for summer stock.
Oh, did you? Oh, I see. Yeah. I was surprised. I mean, I love that journey story where discovery is there, where we're opening up theater to a diverse group of folks. We're telling diverse stories, important stories to be told, people being themselves.
There are clips of the musical that Goodspeed's putting out on Facebook and social media.
Yeah, sure.
And they said it had a score of Broadway's heyday. And well, it doesn't use existing Broadway musical. It has a new score. But when you listen to it, you go, my God, that could be Sound of Music or My Fair Lady or Hello Dolly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very melodic and exciting. possible. I just think that show is going to be big time.
All right. You've just talked me into it, my friend. Hey, before we leave, we've got 2 minutes more. I wanted to repeat for our second hour audience, if they weren't here earlier, that you are making your you're making your stage return this weekend. It's give the whole thing, and you got a minute and a half.
Okay, I am returning with the Springfield Chamber Players, who are performing Johnny Appleseed and 3 other family-friendly pieces of music.
Great for kids.
Great for kids. 3 o'clock Sunday afternoon at First Church in Longmeadow. To get information, SpringfieldSymphonyMusicians.com. And if you use the discount code SCP1 for Springfield Chamber Players 1, you can get $5 off your tickets.
My God, that's a real in thing. Mark, if we want to follow you, where is there a place to follow you?
I am on Facebook under Mark G. Auerbach Arts Beat. I am on Instagram on MGAUERBACH. And you can find me Wednesdays and Fridays right here with either On the Mark or Arts Beat on Westfield Community Programming, 89.5 FM.
Wonderful.
And Southwick.
Great. I've enjoyed this, and thank you for hearing my story. I've been wanting to tell it. And you helped me to do it, and I really appreciate it.
I'm so glad, Bob, because I think people can learn from stories, and it's important to just be open and honest with things.
Oh, absolutely. Kaleidoscope is the song that I'm playing from Hell's Kitchen.
Before I go,
oh yes, sir.
We need to thank Ken Stomsky.
Oh my God, staying in, yes.
I think we oftentimes take for granted the people that work behind the scenes to get us up on the air. And Pete Coles and Ken Stomsky are the 2 guys that help me with my programs. And Ken is on the controls today. And I just want to say thank you.
Oh, you're so kind. I love welcome. You. All righty. Kaleidoscope. This is Alicia Keys from her new musical, which has been nominated for a Tony. Mark, come back anytime you wish. We love you.
Thank you, Bob. Come on my show one of these days.
I would. Bye. See you.
Goodbye.
Kaleidoscope. Tonight is shining bright, Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Light it up. Put it in the air and let it go. Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Can you feel the love now? I'm feeling a buzz now. Never gonna calm down. Piece it all together. Nights like this, they belong in a Guinness. Nights like this, never want them to finish. Don't wait for the end, let's start the beginning. Better to be alive than just to be living. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Kaleidoscope. Everyone looking high and low. No. You're moving way too slow. I think I got that antidote. No. Can you feel the love now? I'm feeling a buzz now. Never wanna come down. Piece it all together. Nights like this, they belong in a Guinness. Nights like this, never want them to finish. Don't wait for the end, let's start the beginning. Better to be alive than just to be living. Come on. Na 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 na. Yeah. Na 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 na. Don't wait for the end, let's start the beginning. just to be living.